We will be talking about the NHL's opening week. On Left Bench Sports.
Cave on, did Alex. No, the Dolphins are not frauds.
All right, we gotta restart
again.
Bad this defense has been. I do not trust them against the Dolphins at all.
Milwaukee Bucks joining the finals this year.
Got a whopping 52 fantasy points in Miami's route of Broncos country.
My 80-year-old grandmother could have broken more tackles and probably made more plays than Mahomes if they gave her a helmet and some football pads.
Welcome back to Left Bench Sports.
We'll be talking about the Giants' loss to the Rams, the Eagles' loss to the Cardinals, college football, and the upcoming Patriots and Jets game.
The Giants lost their 11th and third consecutive game to the Rams. The final score was 26-25, and Tommy DeVito was benched for the Giants, and he was sitting on the water cooler while Tyrod Taylor got the ball for Big Blue.
Tyrod Taylor did okay with 359 yards and a touchdown, but he also did throw an interception. This was to the Rams safety Jordan Fuller, and his only passing touchdown was to Darius Slayton.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrod Taylor, I think he played all right. He's definitely deserving of the start next week, considering how DeVito is playing. So I think he definitely should be playing next week.
I mean, considering the offensive line for the Giants has been absolutely horrendous this year, he does make work of what he can do, and he's getting the job done, which is great.
Yeah, he did have a pretty rough throw on a failed two-point conversion, but nothing you can do about that.
I mean, everybody in the stands was going nuts after that. The game was over after that point.
Darius Slayton had an outstanding game. He had 4 catches for 106 yards. The Giants also got a 24-yard rushing touchdown from Wandale Robinson, who had a solid game with 79 total yards. Wandale Robinson's been playing pretty good this year. I definitely think that he should be in the top 3 receivers for next year for the Giants.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think he's doing really good for the Giants this year, and he's definitely got a bright future ahead of him. I mean, moving on, though, we got Gunnar Olszewski's touchdown. The 94-yard punt return was probably the play of the game easily.
Definitely. However, these great plays were stuck in the shadow of an awful game from the third-string kicker and NFL veteran Mason Crosby. He missed an extra point and a potential game-winning field goal. And, yeah, I mean, he's a third-string kicker. What do you expect? And probably good that he missed those kicks since,
The Giants need their picks next year.
Yeah, they need their picks.
I mean, if you look at the record books, I mean, it shows that the guy hasn't kicked above, 54 yards in the last few years of his, time playing.
Yeah, he's getting old. They just needed someone to, fill the place as Bullock got injured and Gano's been out. So
I mean, it'll definitely benefit the Giants for next year. The fact that they've been losing because their O-line is complete garbage.
They didn't need to win this game.
No.
So on the defensive side of the game for the Giants, the best man in the secondary was definitely Dane Belton with 2 picks, and he also picked up a fumble, and this was forced by Adoree Jackson.
Bobby Okereke also had another great game with 1.5 sacks and a tackle for a loss. I mean, Bobby Okereke was an absolute beast. Considering he's the Mike backer and he's got more sacks than most of the D-line, it's just something to say itself. Yep. He was an absolute beast against the Rams this last week.
On the Rams side of the game, we had Matthew Stafford. He had a pretty okay game. He threw 2 picks, got 1 touchdown, pretty mediocre. His 1 touchdown was to Cooper Kupp, but his best receiver that game was definitely Puka Nacua.
Oh, they utilized Puka Nacua more than anybody else on the Rams offense completely. I mean, usually it's always been,
It's always been Cooper Kupp.
It's been Cooper Kupp pretty much 100% of the time in the last few years. But Puka Nacua, this rookie, has been coming up, and he's actually killing it, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, I definitely think that he's a pretty big steal for the Rams.
He's got a bright future ahead of him, 100%. Yep. He's a really good offensive threat.
Marcus Robinson also had a solid game with 92 yards receiving. And on the defensive side for the Rams, Kobe Turner stuck out the most with 2.5 sacks on Tyrod Taylor. So pretty good game for Kobe Turner.
Hey, Kobe Turner had a solid game. I mean, 2.5 sacks is great. I mean, considering though he's going against the offensive line of the Giants, that also says something that's pretty much their Swiss cheese compared to any other one in the NFL right now.
Comically, Brett Maher will return as the starting kicker for the Rams just 9 games after he was waived. So I thought it was pretty funny how they immediately released their kicker after that game.
I mean, it was stated directly after the game that the Rams kicker was immediately kicked off. I mean, on the side, we even saw the Rams coach screaming at him and completely losing his mind against him.
Yeah. I'd say that overall, definitely the Giants helped themselves by losing this game.
I mean, they definitely had the chance to win it there were so many opportunities they left out in the field to come. The kick they had, the 2-point conversion that Tyrod Taylor threw behind to Saquon Barkley, that was another huge opportunity they strolled, and it was just overall a lot of bad football.
Yep. That'll do it for this week's Giants coverage.
Don't go anywhere. Jesse will be breaking down the Eagles' loss.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome back to Left Bench Sports. Today we'll be covering the Eagles' embarrassing loss to the Cardinals, the team that just keeps on really amazing the league by exposing fraudulent teams. So let's just dive right into it. Right away in the first quarter, Murray really set the tone with the killer play action pass that gave him a good 25-yard gain. A few minutes later, diving catch by Greg Dortch. So right away in the first quarter, they really established a strong passing game, but they couldn't really finish on that drive, ending with just a field goal instead of a touchdown. Hurts started off pretty strong for the Eagles with his offense, putting a touchdown on the board. Not really a heck of a lot to say about that. Cardinals getting the ball back, and Murray throws a 97-yard pick six to Sidney Brown, puts Philly up 14-3. And for the next 20 or so minutes of play, Philly beat up on them for a bit until Carter scored a rushing touchdown. Later on, they also scored another touchdown and a beautiful one-handed pass by James Conner. And, the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter were pretty back and forth, which ended with the Eagles getting picked in the end zone on a Hail Mary and, slammed the nails in the coffin there and sent the Eagles on their way right back to Philly. A really tough loss for the Eagles. Can't say I really feel sorry for them. I can't stand their fan base, and I guess that just comes naturally with being a Giants fan, but I always do enjoy seeing any team beat up on the Eagles, especially a team with a horrible record like Arizona. Another game to prove that the Eagles are a bunch of frauds. And it's obvious what happened here. I mean, they looked at their record. The Eagles looked at the Cardinals' record and just underestimated them, counted them completely out of the game. But then they came back and smacked the Eagles. Eagles' defense really screwed themselves over. Not to say that they made a whole lot of mistakes there, but they should not have let them run the ball from goal to goal for 221 yards the way they did. And not to mention the success that came out of the arm and legs of Murray with 232 passing yards. Now, the Cardinals' O-line was impressive, only giving up a single sack all day against a really, really tough Philly D-line. But, apparently they weren't tough enough for Arizona. I mean, Cardinals wanted it more, and they got what they wanted. And I do think the fact that Arizona has nothing left to play for except but to humiliate Philly and whichever other teams they're playing really helped relieve some pressure there. I mean, they went out, had a good time, and walked away with a closed case. And the verdict was Philly found guilty of fraudulence. And if I were a Philly fan, I would be very careful about purchasing Eagles tickets from here on out because they might just steal your credit card information. But anyways, that's all I have for you here today on Left Bench. But keep it here because Smitty and Jake will be up in just a few moments with their discussion on the college playoffs.
Welcome back to college football on Left Bench Sports. We have some big games to go over, so let's jump right into it. First off, the Rose Bowl, Alabama versus Michigan. Great game. Let's start with the first quarter. Michigan's first drive, a little shaky. McCarthy almost threw that interception first play of the game.
Yeah, he got pretty lucky there. He was lucky that the safety or the cornerback stepped out of bounds and then came back into play. So that was a lucky play for J.J. McCarthy and the Michigan Wolverines.
Almost a dumb play for McCarthy. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
But he almost had to pay for it.
He was out of the pocket too. Like he could have just thrown it out of bounds. Like it wouldn't have been like a penalty or anything if he just threw it out of bounds because he was out of the pocket.
So punt the ball to Bama. First drive for Bama, Milroe gets sacked twice, and Michigan was really able to pressure the quarterback this game.
Yeah. Alabama didn't have an answer for Michigan's defense for the first drive. They were constantly applying pressure, though, throughout the whole first half.
Yeah, they really didn't have an answer the whole first half at all. I mean, the quarterback was constantly being pressured.
Yeah.
The O-line just couldn't hold up.
Milroe, he got sacked like 5 times in the first quarter?
About 5-6 times in the first half.
Or in the first half, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a short first drive with 2 sacks, Bama punted the ball back to Michigan. But here the punt returner actually dropped the ball, and then Bama gets the ball with good field position. This actually happened a lot during this game.
Yeah.
Bad special teams.
Mm-hmm. Talking about special teams, as a whole, it was a really big problem for Michigan. Michigan, just very sloppy plays from their, not thinking straight. They were, thinking ahead of before, they actually caught the ball and, or anything.
Yeah, special teams was really sloppy. It was actually probably the worst part of Michigan's team. But, off of that play, Alabama with good field position, they were able to capitalize. McClellan found a hole, made a move, and he scored the first touchdown of the game. So Bama up 7-0. But after this, Bama wasn't really able to move the ball much on offense. After they got it, the whole first half, they really weren't able to move the ball much.
Yeah. Michigan was playing great defense, and they were applying pressure constantly. They were, especially in a Milroe and the O-line. The O-line couldn't hold the Michigan's defense, so that's why Milroe was getting sacked so many times in the first half. Right after Bama's touchdown, Michigan drove down and got one of their own, and McCarthy was able to find a wide open Blake Corum for the first score of the game.
Yeah, good job by Michigan, not letting that first mess up that just happened, the 7-0 start, not letting that affect you, probably a lot of energy going towards the Alabama fans, but great job by Michigan and McCarthy leading a whole drive to get themselves back in the game.
Yeah.
And as we were saying, with Milroe constantly being pressured, Michigan has to find a way to capitalize, and they were able to do it near the end of the second quarter. McCarthy hit Tyler Morris, and he ran in for a 38-yard touchdown, and that was actually his first touchdown of the whole year.
Yeah, that was getting your first touchdown in the Rose Bowl. That's pretty cool. Of the season, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
But he didn't catch one he didn't get one the whole season, which is crazy too.
Yeah, it's a great place to do it, but as you mentioned earlier, Michigan special teams was really sloppy. They muffed the snap, and it was only 13-7.
Yeah, they missed their PAT attempt, and it was just a bad day for the special teams for Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alabama was able to get the offense moving a little bit. They got a quick field goal before the end of the half, so it was an okay half for both teams, but I wouldn't say it was their best halves of the game or of the entire season, I would say.
I think Bama was pretty fortunate or lucky to have gotten a field goal because, they really couldn't get anything on offense. Milroe was constantly being pressured.
Yeah.
And going into halftime with only a 3-point deficit and knowing that, we're not playing good at all, I think that was probably huge for them, especially because they got the ball right back.
Yeah, that's big, getting the ball right back after you scored that field goal. That was good for them to get the ball back.
Yeah, so they're left with a great opportunity. And the first drive after halftime, they looked pretty good. They got a few first downs, and 2 bad snaps really just turned it around. And we saw that with the center a lot.
Yeah, that center for Alabama is brutal. He messed up his snaps pretty much every drive.
Yeah, a lot of low snaps.
There was at least one mess up snap every drive.
That drive, a few good plays, you're in Michigan territory, and then all of a sudden, you're looking to score and take control of this game, and then 2 bad snaps, miscommunication, whatever it was, and it just turns the whole game around and Michigan gets the ball back.
Yeah. Alabama was hurting themselves, like how we said. A lot of bad snaps, and just bad placement of the ball,
silly penalties too.
And penalties. Very silly penalties.
Yeah, so no scoring in the third from either teams though. Bama didn't see much from the passing game, but the running game was kind of working for them. McClellan was finding openings, and he rushed for a touchdown in the fourth to give them the early lead.
Yeah. Milroe didn't look like to be passing much or getting anything from the passing game. A big reason because of that was Michigan's defense. Their defense was just amazing this game. So they were really not allowing Milroe to throw the ball. So Milroe either had to scramble it or he had to run the ball to McClellan.
Yeah, Milroe carried the ball about 20 times, and whether it was McClellan or the other backs, it was not a lot of passing this game. Michigan's offense started slowing down, and they weren't even able to get much action until later in the fourth as well, after Will Reichert's 52-yard field goal. And here, it looked like Bama was going to take the game away, Late in the fourth, obviously only a touchdown game, but Michigan really wasn't getting anything going. Bama was really holding them, and they had a lead. But Michigan got the ball back with a few minutes, and McCarthy was able to work some magic.
Yeah. The Michigan offense, the head Jim Harbaugh and Michigan's offensive coordinator got up some plays, and it was just at the right time, and they made these plays perfectly. Blake Corum capitalized on, and McCarthy found a few receivers like Roman Wilson, and he even got some yards with his legs. So it was a good, late game for Michigan. They played well.
Shortly after that, McCarthy found Wilson for the huge touchdown.
That was a great throw though. That where Wilson just jumped up and just caught it right before it could have been an interception.
Huge plays by McCarthy and Wilson. McCarthy leading a drive down the field, and then Wilson leaping up for that catch, keeping the drive alive, moving the chains.
Huge catch.
And then catching the touchdown to tie the game. Alabama was given a little bit of time to score. Not much happened. They punted away, leaving less than a minute on the clock, but luckily for them, another mishap on the Michigan special teams, and dropped the punt, almost led to disaster.
That was another special teams disaster. It was just he got lucky there. He caught it, and then he put his one foot down before the Alabama's defense could come in and tackle him.
Yeah, really lucky he didn't turn.
If he didn't put down his leg or his foot, it would have probably been a safety.
Yeah, really lucky he didn't turn into a safety. That could have been the game, to be honest. And from there, at the 1 yard line, they didn't want to take any risk. They just played it conservatively, let it go into overtime.
Yep.
And when they got to overtime, Bama won the toss, but they elected to get the ball second.
Yeah. So talking about going into the overtime, obviously Michigan got the ball first. A great first down by Blake Corum, and then he ran into the end zone. He broke 2-3 tackles.
They broke a few tackles, made some moves.
And then he just walked into the end zone. It was a great play by Blake Corum.
Yeah, huge by Blake Corum in overtime. And when Bama got the ball back, Milroe did pick up a huge first down, but a few big plays by the Michigan D came, stopped at the line or even behind the line twice. And then they hit Burton right on that 3 yard line, close to the end zone.
Yeah, and then Burton, he cramped up in his hamstring,
or whatever it was.
And that was, I think, after that, you probably could have tell, their best wide receiver is out with cramps. So, it would be hard for them to, they don't have their best wide receiver out there on their last play.
Obviously, they still have Bond, and Bama's filled with good players, but definitely huge to lose him. He set him up in good position, but a designed QB draw, and he just ran right into the line. Now,
I was going to ask you. That was a stupid play.
I was going to ask you, did you think there was something wrong with the play, or did you agree with it? But
I think that there was something wrong with that play.
Yeah.
The OC and Nick Saban, I don't know what was going through their head, for Milroe to run right into the defensive line.
It looked like Brian Johnson was offensive coordinator there.
Yeah.
But, I don't really agree with it either. I mean, I think it could have happened. It looked like he ran right into the line, but Michigan was really there. It didn't look like he could bounce out or anything or get around. Michigan was there, and obviously you want to see him throw it, but that's what they went with. That's what happened. So Michigan takes the game. It's huge for them. Mm-hmm. Emotional ending for both teams. And it's great to see guys like McCarthy on Michigan enjoying and taking in the win after some tough losses like last year, the year before. But you also got to feel for some of the Bama players, like Milrow. But with that game over, Michigan to the national championship, and we had the Sugar Bowl to see who would play them. Two offensive powerhouses going at it, and from the start, I could already tell this would be a shootout. Penix and Washington started the game out with a bang. Huge bomb of a pass to Polk all the way to the red zone, and almost even in for the touchdown. Shortly after Dylan Johnson gets in the touchdown.
Yep.
And just quick 7-0 for Washington.
Yep, and like you said, it was going to be a shootout. It's going to be a great game, especially on the offensive side. And Texas came back. Quinn Ewers led the offense down into the red zone for a touchdown. Great plays, just a good drive, good first drive for the Texas.
Yeah. Both quarterbacks went off. Amazing games. More for Penix, but I think Quinn Ewers played pretty good as well.
Yeah, Penix had a great game. Like over 400 passing yards?
430 passing yards.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. It continued to be like this for the rest of the half. Penix was making amazing plays, one after the other. And this game, he was really on point. He was making tons of just great throws. He was moving around in the pocket and then hitting it, in the perfect spots.
Mm-hmm. He just has, he has that great arm. He has that great vision of the field. It's kind of like Tom Brady's vision and, like Mahomes, power.
Yeah,
to throw the ball. He's just that good.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how he plays in the national championship against Michigan's defense. But, he sort of had, a plateau in the middle of the season where, he wasn't doing as good and Washington wasn't doing as good. But, Pac-12 championship and now, he's been really good and he's turning on at the right times. So great to see for Penix.
Yep, and then another great drive by Penix led to a tough throw that was perfectly in Polk's arms or Polk's hands. It was just a perfect throw.
Yeah, it bounced off of him, but just perfect. The defender was here, he was there, hit him right in the right spot. And Polk also had himself a game, 122 receiving yards and a touchdown.
Great game by Polk.
Yeah. Texas actually got in the end zone, though, to wrap up the first half. So 21-21, already beat the Rose Bowl's regulation score at the end of the first half, so just crazy. Third quarter, one of the defense started to step up, and it was actually Washington's.
Yeah. Washington's defense didn't allow any scores for the quarter. Their offensives were kept rolling, and Penix made another tough pass. He fit in between two defenders to McMillan for a big touchdown. And then later in the third, Washington was able to get themselves up for a field goal, making it a 10-point game.
Yeah, it was big for Texas to not be able to score at all because Washington kept rolling. Penix was still on the ball. But no scoring by Texas is really huge because then you kind of set that gap, and it's not just an offensive battle. You actually have sort of gap between the score. But in the fourth, Grady Gross hit another field goal, 13-point game, and then Texas kind of started to lock back in. They started to move the ball, got in Washington's territory, and then a huge fumble off of what looked like a good screen pass play, but a huge fumble to turn the ball over.
Yeah, this was tough for It was tough for Texas. They needed a score. They were really close to doing so, and then luckily they got a stop and they got the ball back. So lucky for them, they got the ball back.
Yeah, tough play for Texas. You need a score there, and then they lose the ball, but lucky enough to get the ball back shortly. And when they did, they came firing, got all the way to the one, and then a huge play. Quinn Ewers threw it up to Adonai Mitchell, who just declared for the draft. And it's going to be exciting to watch. A lot of great offensive guys on Texas, but, that really raised the energy for Texas fans and definitely the team too. Just a dime over the Washington defender, so kind of huge to try and turn the game around.
Yeah. Washington was able to catch in for another field goal, leaving Texas 2 minutes and 40 seconds to get 9 points, which is kind of hard to get 9 points in 3 minutes.
I mean, obviously a great offense, so they were going to try. And, they got close. They got a field goal. They figured they would get a stop and get the ball back. But, it was intense. 2 great games. Get to all the way to the red zone, need that touchdown, 37-31. And, Washington, just great defense. That last play, able to knock the ball out after a previous touchdown.
Yep.
I mean, great discipline to able to knock the ball out.
Yeah. I have one question, Jake. Who do you think for on Monday, who do you think is going to win the national championship?
I mean, I think it could go either way, but I think Washington might be able to get it, and I'm giving them the slight edge. But to win, I think Washington just needs to play really good defense.
Yeah. I think the other way. I think Michigan, because their defense is amazing, like probably the best defense in college football right now. So I think that they can how they locked down Jalen Milroe. I think they can do the same thing for Penix.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility too. I mean, Michigan, great chance to win the game. I think it's even for both. But if we see another game like this for Penix, it could be scary for Michigan. And I think for Michigan to win, their defense is going to have to step up. And for Washington, same thing, vice versa. I think it's going to be a game of whose defense steps up. Because
I think it's going to be a defensive game.
Washington's offense is definitely, a lot stronger. I mean, we saw that.
They have more weapons. And they also have a great QB, who can throw the ball really well.
Not that McCarthy's bad.
No, McCarthy, he's just that Penix sees the field so well.
Yeah, Penix is a great quarterback. But I think I'm going to lock in that pick. I got Washington by a short margin.
I got Michigan, so.
All right, we'll see. And that's all. That's going to do it for this week. And we'll see you next week. We're going to cover the national championship.
Welcome back to Left Bench Sports. Today we'll be talking about the game of the century, where we have my 4-12 Patriots versus Luke's 6-10 Jets.
I mean, I actually expected the Jets to be better this year, but they're the Jets, so it never happens. It never works. Of course, Aaron Rodgers has to get hurt 2 minutes into his first game, and his fourth snap, he didn't even complete a pass. So that's why we're here right now. Otherwise, we would definitely be much better this year. But yep, we're 6-10 again.
Yeah, I mean, what a disaster of a season. But we have quite the QB matchup between Trevor Siemian and Bailey Zappi. With that being said, Luke, who do you have winning this game?
I mean, I still have to pick the Jets to win. I mean, I'm going to say they win 13-3 maybe. Their defense is really good. Always going to be really good. Their offense has been a little bit better, I'd say, these last couple of games when they don't have Zach Wilson playing. I think Breece Hall scores another touchdown. He's been great in the last couple of games. Maybe it's another catch, another receiving touchdown. I have a bunch of those. Trevor Siemian's been decent. He might throw for another 200 yards. And I think the Jets will finally end the streak of 15 straight losses against the Patriots. And, of course, it would be a bad time to win. Of course, we're going to end up getting Caleb Williams, set him up for the next 20 years, have another great quarterback. And, yeah, that would be the time for the Jets to win. That's what they always do. Another big day for Greg Zuerlein. He's been great all year, kicks some more field goals. And I expect the Patriots kicker, Chad Ryland, to have more issues like he's had all year, as he kicks 50% at this point in the year. So, Myles, who do you have winning this week?
Well, I have the Patriots winning this one 3-0 in a shootout. I think Chad Ryland, obviously, he's had struggles all year. Patriots special teams have been absolute garbage this year. Probably lost 3 games because of them. Matthew Slater really has had no impact on the team whatsoever. I mean, that's what the Belichick teams were built on, all 3 phases, offense, defense, and special teams. And right now only half of a phase is showing up every week. I have the Patriots winning this one 3-0. It would be a symbolic way for Belichick to go out if, in fact, this is his last game as a Patriot. Beating the team that he resigned after one day coaching. Yeah, it would be a really great way for him to go out, beating a team that he hasn't lost to since 2013, 2014. 3-0, 13-3. We're thinking along the same lines here. Not much scoring. A lot of running, a lot of punting. Going to be a big day for the special teams. I think that's what it's going to come down to, be honest. Who can flip the field the best?
I mean, honestly, it helps both teams to lose. They get a better draft pick. Patriots in a better position for draft pick right now because they've been worse this year. And they'll probably get a superstar quarterback because they always do. But as a Jets fan, it would just be nice to beat Bill Belichick in his last game and just knock him out losing to the Jets. It'd be really fun to beat him that way. And, yeah, surely going to be a defensive battle this week. Can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the game here. The receivers, I think, for the Jets have the edge over the Patriots. Garrett Wilson, for whatever he can run, depends how wide open you can get. I mean, you really need to be wide open for Trevor Siemian to hit you. So it's going to be quite the game. Another thing, at least up here in New Jersey, we're expecting some snow. So if the offenses can't move the ball already as it is in good conditions, might have some more snow to deal with. As I said, we're predicting a punt fest here. That's really all we have in the forecast other than snow. Just a ton of punts, ton of missed field goals by Chad Ryland. It should be an exciting game.
Yeah, should be. Hopefully the Jets could beat Belichick in his last game, and then he'll get fired, or they'll mutually agree to part ways, but we know that's because he was going to get fired. And then he'll be done, and then hopefully the Patriots aren't as good as they have been.
Yeah, I don't know whether I want to win or lose this game, to be honest. Do I want a quarterback or somebody who can help out the offense? Or do I want to beat the Jets and still have our pride as a good football team? It's going to be quite the game. Well, that's all we have for you on Left Bench Sports. We'll see you next week as we'll be patiently awaiting for Wild Card Weekend.